Saraya goes all in, but not with Xavier Woods and Brad Maddox. She goes all in with claims that AEW All In will equal Wrestlemania. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. We're here to talk about Saraya. We're here to talk about Paige. We're here to talk about whatever she calls herself. I call her the queen of Pornhub, but I'm sure she's got other names for herself. That's probably the most relevant she's been, though, in like the past, 7, 6, 8 years, whatever. Paige, though, now in AEW, pretty much not doing anything. She had the big arrival at AEW. It felt pretty big at the time because she was coming back from what we all believed was a career-ending injury. But since then, I mean, what has she done? She's turned heel. She's joined a faction with Jamie Hayter. They then added the ugly duckling to the stable, Ruby Riott or Ruby Soho, whatever she wants to call herself, and they're spray painting people like the NWO, but a really, really shit version of the NWO, and actually compared themselves to the NWO as well. The stable is so bad I can't even remember what the name of it is, but either way, did I say Jamie Hayter? I meant Toni Storm, whatever. She's teaming up with Toni Storm, but Paige was talking about the upcoming All-In event that's going to be happening at August. Obviously, it's happening at the Wembley Arena, the Wembley Stadium in England. For those of you that don't know, for those of you foreign wrestling fans that are in America or Canada or Australia or wherever, Wembley is a pretty big stadium. It hosts 90,000, and that's just seated. You know, that's like 90,000 seats. If you take into consideration that wrestling events, the crowd can actually come onto the pitch, then you can get a lot more. So it's like 90,000 seats, but when you factor in it's going to be a wrestling event, think of how many seats they can do ringside around the ring that isn't actually a part of the stadium. You could easily add an extra 10,000 seats onto that, in my opinion. So you could be looking at a 100 grand stadium, 100,000 seats to be sold. Now, a lot of people are actually debating whether or not AEW is going to do this. Meltzer's already come out and says that 25,000 would be a big number for AEW. Obviously, he's saying that to try and, make an excuse for them, really, if they fail. So he's come out and he's already trying to damage the potential blow that AEW sell nowhere near to the full capacity of the stadium. However, I actually think they'll do more than 25,000. I think wrestling events nowadays, I think the big events are going to sell out. I think the big events are more likely to sell out than ever before, mainly for the reason is, in general, wrestling sucks. I feel like the big events now is all that people have. I feel like people are more likely to save their money and go to a pay-per-view rather than they are, when a house event or when a brand event comes to them, like a Dynamite or a Raw. I feel like people are more likely to miss that but turn up to WrestleMania. Plus, when you think about it, it's only the hardcore audience left, and the hardcore audience will pretty much follow wrestling wherever they go. So, yeah, for me, you look at WrestleMania now, and sometimes they'll do like 80,000 night one and night two, and I honestly don't think that's impressive. I don't think it's difficult for WWE to do it. I believe WWE could probably put 5 nights on and do 80,000 every single night. I believe that's kind of what WWE is now, and that's what WrestleMania is. I feel like they've sacrificed wrestling throughout the year. They've sacrificed the show in general just to have that one big, massive event at the end of the year. But anyway, forget about that. Paige was doing the interview, and she stated that All In has the WrestleMania Type 1 feel. This is what she says, quote, "I haven't performed in the UK in years, and then to be on one of the biggest stages you can get over there, Wembley Stadium, it's just a very wild opportunity. It does have that WrestleMania 1 vibe, where this is something really special. I feel so fortunate that I get to be a part of history," end of quote. So Paige here coming out, I find it weird that she's suggesting that she's definitely going to be on it. She's assuming she's going to be on the card, and that's fair enough because she is one of the bigger female names, but I mean, I guess nothing is for sure. However, I mean, I think it would be stupid if they do go to the UK and, they don't have Saraya, they don't have Paige on the match card. But for me, what they have to do is put her in a one-on-one match. Do not team her up in this stable. Don't have a throwaway 6-women's tag. That would be dumb. One-on-one matches draw the most. Therefore, she should go into this with, a feud that actually means something. And for her to suggest it's got WrestleMania 1 vibes, honestly, I'm not feeling that. WrestleMania 1 was huge. Every WrestleMania has been huge. No one's really talking about this All In Wembley, apart from AEW. No one's really talking about this, apart from Dave Meltzer. I mean, honestly, in the UK, this isn't even a thing. You would struggle to actually know this is happening. In the UK, it's not even been mentioned. It's not been advertised or anything like that. And the event is coming up pretty soon. It's coming up in like 4 months, and there's been no like word of it. There's been literally nothing on the news. There's been no advertisements. There's been nothing on the sports channels. There is nothing about AEW. The only mention you really get of this is like the likes of Dave Meltzer on their podcast, and then obviously AEW promoting it on Dynamite and Rampage. Apart from that, though, there's no big hype, there's no vibes that Paige is talking about. So there's definitely nothing similar to WrestleMania 1. And then Saraya went on to talk about the 2 opponents she would love to face at the show. She says, I would love to face Jamie Hayter, that would be amazing, because she's also from the UK. I've had the opportunity to be a tag and triple threat, but not a singles match. I would love that opportunity. Do we open that forbidden door? Mercedes Moné, I would love to face her. There would be such a full circle moment. There's so much opportunity there. End of quote. Well, first of all, with Mercedes Moné, I guess if they did that, they could maybe play up the whole "you ended my career" thing back in WWE. I mean, I guess it's potential for her, but again, is Mercedes Moné really the safest worker? Is that somebody that... Is there anybody safe in wrestling nowadays, though? Let's be real. I'm not too sure if Mercedes Moné versus Paige is a match to do, but I mean, I think Mercedes is a pretty big draw, that if she does come in, then it would be good to have her on the show, but I just don't think it will be this. And as for Paige versus Jamie Hayter, I think this makes the most sense. You've got 2 chicks from England with a big show in England. Why not let these 2 go at it? You know, one face, one heel. Jamie Hayter might still be the champion by the time this show comes around. Who knows? Maybe it could be for the belt. Maybe Saraya could win the AEW Women's World Championship. I mean, I don't think the choice of matches there are bad. Hayter versus Paige, or, you know, Sasha Banks versus Paige, but it's just not WrestleMania 1 hype. It's not. And the show, I think, probably will do decent, because let's be honest, the UK is pretty small as well. You'll have people coming from all around the UK. Not just that, I believe you'll have people travelling from Ireland as well. And then also, you might have people from Europe, you know, European fans of AEW that realistically maybe can't afford to go to America, or America's too far to travel. Whereas people in France, people in Germany, you can literally get to the UK in a plane in like an hour. You know, so it's a lot more feasible for them to get to a show. So even though it's happening in England, it's happening in London, it basically, this show has been opened to pretty much a large fan base of British people, Irish people, and European people that don't get the opportunity to go to AEW shows, because AEW doesn't tour in Europe. I think it's done a couple of UK shows, but they don't really get a chance to see it. So the fact that they're getting like maybe, I'm not going to say a once in a lifetime opportunity, but they're getting a rare opportunity to get to an AEW show. That's why I think this show will do well. It's not like in America where you can go to an AEW show like where they always turn up in Chicago. You can go to a Chicago AEW show like maybe once every 3 months, every 4 months. In the UK, if you're in France, you ain't getting that opportunity. This is the best chance you've got to watch AEW, and that's why I think it will do pretty decent in the viewership. So anyway, guys, that's my opinion. Let me know what you think down below. It's definitely not got WrestleMania 1 hype. There's actually no hype about it at all so far, so I'm not sure where Paige is getting that from, but who knows? Hopefully they can bring out some big names for it. I'd like to see CM Punk return. I would like to see Sting in a meaningful feud, getting a, you know, maybe even a retirement match, and not just be Darby Allin's lackey. So yeah, hopefully they can put on a good show, but I have no faith in Tony Khan. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Can the Khan man do it, or will he disappoint? We'll find out, I guess, when the show happens. But that's it, guys. Let us know what you think down below. Any particular matches you think should happen on the show, and I'll catch you in the next one.